Good morning, happy Thursday. Big winter storm coming. So, all week we're talking about health. We're talking about how to have energy, how to have vitality, how to live for a long time. If you're going to accomplish all these things, you want to be able to live long enough in order to enjoy it. You know, one of the mistakes a lot of people make is they sacrifice their health for money, and then they get all this money, and then they spend all their money at the end of their life to try to get their health back. It doesn't do you any good to make tens of millions of dollars if while doing it you smoked and you never slept and you got stressed so much that now you have heart disease and you're on your way to cancer and you have all kinds of breathing issues. You know, what's the point of that? So if you're going to go do all of these successful things, then at least have a body left over that you can operate in. So we've said, number one, if you want to live, you got to eat things that are alive. So 70% water-rich foods, that's fruits, vegetables, raw if possible, and sprouts. The more you cook them, the more you take the water out of them. So they're not nearly as healthy once you cook them as they are when you first eat them. And obviously the different ways you cook them, the better. So if you just steam them, awesome. Microwaves are not the greatest thing for you, but microwave vegetables that were frozen, that's better than something that you've cooked the hell out of. If I'm going to cook something, I usually grill it and not for very long. So fruits, vegetables, and sprouts, pop is not water, coffee is not water, milk is not water. Water is water. And there's some little things that you can do other than that, but otherwise, 70% water content foods. Try to drink half your body weight in purified, pure water daily with lemon so that you can offset your acidity, balance your pH. Anybody go get pH strips and see how acidic you are? I hope somebody does and shares, because usually when you do that, you're pretty surprised. Then we talked about living breath. 3 times a day, 5 to 10 times, do a breath that you hold it in for a ratio of 1, 4, 2. So if you hold it in for a count of 6, that's 1. Then you breathe in for a count of 6. Then you hold it for 4 times that, 24. And then you breathe out for 12. Try to do 8. Try to do 8, 32, and then breathe out for 16. So we got vital water content foods, and then breath. Okay, so what's the next thing? Well, you got to do, you got to exercise, right? You want to have aerobic activity. Now, there's different, exercise, you do exercise for different things. Obviously, if you want to look spectacular, that's a different form of exercise. The exercise that everybody recommends for living a long time is walking, is a brisk walk, especially first thing in the morning. They're not going to tell you to do difficult exercise because it does wear and tear on the body. Now, I walk a lot, especially in the mornings, but I like to run. Running feels good. It releases endorphins, and I don't think there's any way quicker to lose weight than running. If you want to shake off weight, I don't think anything does it like running, but it's tough on the body. So that's why, the whole want to be a centenarian thing, they're not going to tell you to run because it's tough on the body. Biking is much easier on the body than running. Swimming is even easier yet, but it doesn't matter what you do. You do regular aerobic activity, and they're going to tell you you don't got to do it forever. 30, 45 minutes is plenty. 30, 45 minutes of aerobic activity. And you should do some strengthening also. They're finding more and more and more that the more you maintain muscle mass, the more you fight off all kinds of diseases later on in life, in particular Alzheimer's. So, a little bit of resistance training added to all of that. And again, this can be in any way that you want, but most of it doesn't talk about exercising a huge amount. 45 minutes of aerobic activity, 5-6 days a week. Resistance training 3 days a week, plenty in terms of health. And by the way, if you're eating 70% water content foods and you're making sure they're organic and you're going to eliminate the things that we're going to talk about eliminating, you're not going to have a problem with weight. I mean, because weight's going to fall off. You're not going to have to worry about dieting, which the first three letters are die, never a good thing. You're going to be, if you focus on, I want to have water content foods, I want to have organic foods, you can eat all the broccoli you want. You can eat all the green beans you want. You can stuff yourself full of that stuff. Remember when you put meat into your stomach, it only fills up about this much of your stomach normally. Oil will fill up less. But when you put vegetables in, all that fiber fills up your stomach and it makes you full. So like one of the ways to add the water content foods is just to have a big salad with every meal and have the salad first. It's going to fill you up. You're going to eat all you want and lose weight. I mean, that's just the way it works. If you're stuffing yourself full of all these veggies, not only are you going to feel better, not only are you going to feel stronger, you're going to lose weight. So regular aerobic activity and some resistance training is the next portion of the process that you need to do. Next thing that you need, and then we're going to talk about, tomorrow we're going to talk about what to eliminate, and you're all going to get mad at me, but this stuff works. Next thing to think about is when you do eat, the way that you eat. You want to not what they call food combine. So the old thing has always been, if you have a protein, you should have a carb. That was the way that I grew up. Well, if you have steak, you should have a potato. If you should have chicken, you should have rice. If you have fish, you should have rice. Okay, that's the exact opposite of what you should do. When a protein goes into your body, your stomach has to produce a certain acid in order to break down the protein. When a starch goes into your body, the stomach has to produce a different acid that is the opposite pH in order to break down the starch. So when you put both into your stomach, it has to produce both acids and they cancel each other out. And then the food just sits in your stomach. So the way that you eat is important here because it'll help in your digestion. And most people have not digested food very well. I mean, most people have a huge amount of undigested food in their bowels and in their colon. I mean, if you see somebody older and they have a large stomach that sticks out and it's hard, that's undigested food. I mean, it's not uncommon, especially in the area of the country where I live in, that if somebody dies at 25, that they'll have 20 pounds of undigested food in their colon. I mean, that was John Wayne, that was Elvis Presley. I mean, it is not uncommon. So the way that you eat is important. So number one, when you wake up in the morning, breakfast is break your fast, right? That's what breakfast stands for. You want to break your fast with something that's easy to digest. So you want fruit, vegetables, and you want them in their pure form. And whenever you eat, you want to eat the water content food first. So you want to have the salad first, you want to have the vegetables first so that your body can digest that, because that stuff goes through your body easily. I mean, if you eat, this morning I'll start out and I'll have a mango and I'll have some pineapple and I'll eat that stuff first because it's mostly water, so your body can easily digest it. By the way, I eat more fruit than I do vegetables, and I know you'll hear people say, oh, it's too much sugar. I mean, look, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. Obviously, these are just my ideas, and they're my ideas that I've gotten from reading a lot about this stuff. It's natural sugar. These are legendary foods. These are foods that you were supposed to have that we've been eating for thousands and thousands of years. Processed sugar is terrible. Regular sugar, so I wore a glucose monitor this past fall, what a diabetic would wear. I wore one for a couple of weeks just to see how my body would respond to food. If I ate chips, even blue chips, which are supposed to be healthy, if I ate chips and salsa, my blood sugar spiked like 190, and my blood sugar would hang out around 110, around 80, 70 or 80. It would go up to 180 or 190. When I would eat honey, it went to like 140, but it only stayed there for about 20 minutes and then it was back down. And I could eat all the honey I want. And when I ate pineapples and mangoes, it did the same thing. Never went above 150, and then it would immediately come right back down. Now, I have no glucose issues, so if you have glucose issues, if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, then you got to look at that stuff. But the point is, foods that we have eaten for thousands of years, our body handles differently than processed crap. So don't worry about eating, oh, it's too much sugar. Oh, really? If I have 4 pears, that's unhealthy. If I have 5 apples, that's really going to be that unhealthy, as opposed to if I have some pill or I take some drink or some powder. I mean, come on. That doesn't make any sense. So you want to eat the water content foods first. And then secondly, you don't want to ever food combine. Don't combine a protein and a starch. We're going to talk about reducing those things. But if you're going to have a piece of meat, some sort of protein, have it with vegetables. Don't have it with a starch. And then have a salad. Have the salad first, eat the vegetables, eat the protein. If you're going to have a starch, if you want to have potatoes, have a potato salad, okay, but you have it with vegetables. You don't have it with a protein. That way you're never food combining. When you do this, you're going to be shocked at how your body digests. I'm not recommending that you eat this, but if you could eat a huge porterhouse, and if you have steamed broccoli or steamed beans with it, and then also have a salad, you're not going to be as tired as when you used to eat that thing and you would eat a giant potato, because you're not food combining. This will increase your body's ability to digest. It increases your body's ability to get the nutrients out of the food, and it increases your body's ability to pass what you need to pass. So, break your fast with fruits, vegetables in their purest form, raw or juiced, something like that. Always eat the water foods first, and don't food combine. No starch and protein together. Eat one or eat the other. That's the stuff for today. Happy, ridiculous snowstorm that's coming here to the northern Midwest. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other. Tomorrow, you guys get to get mad at me.